Yo, X marks the spot. Welcome to Wallride X, the Wallride exclusives, the Wallride experience. My name is Dez, aka FlippinBoards. I am a skateboard deck collector. Yes, folks, that's a real thing, man. I buy, sell, trade, and collect rare skateboard decks. This guy right here,
how you doing?
30 years in the game. He makes skateboard decks, manufacturing. Yep. 30 years professional, right? Owns a shop. Does it all. Yep. Does it all, honestly. Marko, Sharko, Jazbinsek. What up, Marko? Tonight's guest has taken no shortcuts on his journey and career as a professional skater. From Canada to LA, he continues to push forward as an international ambassador who lets his skateboarding do the talking. Except for tonight, we're gonna do a lot of talking.
Yeah.
Literally, if you look up his name, if you Google his name, it'll say he's known for his positivity and determination, which is 100% facts.
Yeah.
So, folks, put your hands up. Actually, put your fingers up like this. Hey! The Skate Mafia's very own TJ Rogers.
Hey. Come on, man! We out here, baby. Let's go! Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
No, thank you guys. Appreciate you,
Welcome
man.
to the Wallride.
Anytime. Yeah. Pleasure to be here, and I'm a big fan of what you both do on a skate side. So it's an honor to be here as well, man. Stoked. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, man. All right,
Thanks
we're going in. We're going in. We're going in.
Let's
First off, congratulations, dude. 1 year on the Mafia.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
appreciate that. Thank you guys.
Marko, did you do this though?
I tried.
Come on, let's see it.
It's a thumbs down. It's thumbs down, and then it's not only the index fingers to the ring, but then it's left over right. And then you got to keep the pinkies down as well, because then it shows that S, and then it has the M right here.
Put those thumbs down, Marko. Put those thumbs down.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's
almost.
it.
Yeah,
Getting
viral.
Hey, yo, it doesn't happen the first time, you know? You got to get used to it.
Well, I know
Practice.
you just did it with RZA. You showed RZA from Wu-Tang
Yep.
how to do it.
Exactly,
That was fire.
We were at a Red Bull Summit last week, and he was there just doing a guest speaking, and just very inspirational moment for me, because I've been a big fan of Wu-Tang since I was a kid. And just to see him talk and be in his presence and then, you know, school me on some game, I was like, damn, like, this guy's a legend. And then me being able to have the opportunity to show him how to do the Mafia, like how the street culture is, I was like, damn, that's fucking respect.
Amazing,
That's
bro.
hyped.
So we got like a whole wall of Skate Mafia boards behind you. And by the way, you see Method Man, he's right there, that little teal board.
Oh my God.
That's the Method Man Wes Kramer. So Skate Mafia
Damn.
did do a Wu-Tang, tribute board type thing.
Might have been a cease and desist.
It was, yeah, it's not like really a collab, unofficial collab.
First of all,
Yeah.
yo, amazing board wall, first of all. And like, dude, there's so many Mafia boards, like, mad respect, because, yo, fucking Dego would be proud. So thank you guys for the support, you know?
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it.
I told you I collect decks, man. So we wanted to really deck the wall out for you.
I can
Pun
tell.
intended.
I can tell.
All right, so
All right.
I want to shuffle up and deal over here.
Okay.
Shuffle up and deal a few of these, but these are my surprise decks.
I've seen those online.
You seen the vids?
Yeah.
So, you know, creates a new experience. You open it up. Let's see what you got. Yeah, TJ, open on up,
Let's see what I got. Any preferred spot that you usually open it?
Yeah, they're perforated. So
Perforated?
rip
Okay.
that open,
Right on the
pull
top.
out the deck,
Hey,
and
dude.
we're going to do some Skate Mafia history, guys. There are a lot of Mafia decks in
Oh
here.
my God, I just see the name, and
Show
yo,
these peeps.
I just gotta say, cha!
Wow.
Cha! For B Money, baby. Let me see this one. Oh, and he signed it too.
Yeah.
Holy. That one's super ill.
So that's the Brandon Turner.
Oh,
Skate Mafia did like a Simpsons kind of drop.
It looks like a Futurama board.
But exactly. So, no. These are the little aliens at the end. You know there's two aliens at the end of Simpsons? They come out. Anyway, it's called the Pimpsons.
Oh, no
So
way.
they did the Pimpsons, and they kind of, you know, Skate Mafia.
Damn, dude.
Y'all
Dude,
touch
Dan,
that.
honestly, Dan Connolly, like the owner of Mafia, part owner of Mafia,
Word.
he thinks of some of the best graphics, honestly, and
Yeah.
like, it's such an honor to be a part of the brand, and like, damn, just to see this board too, and I already can see briefly a couple of the other ones just
Yeah.
from afar, and I'm like, it's so crazy to be a
Right.
part of this team, and it's, dude, yeah.
It seemed like a perfect fit, honestly.
Yeah.
Like when we all heard it, like TJ Ryder, Skate Mafia was like, yup,
Oh.
that sounds about right.
Great fit.
You know?
Appreciate you guys, man.
So-
Yeah, no, this board is sick, dude.
Shout out
The
to Brandon Turner.
glasses too for Chai. Come on, man. You already know the vibe, G.
Let's keep it rolling.
Fuck, how many do you got here?
You
Jesus.
know,
A lot.
there are some X factors as well. You know, there's some stuff in there, man.
Okay.
But that's the whole thing, you know.
Do you know which one that came out in? Do you know what year?
You know what?
It's okay, because I don't know either. So
It
it's
might
no,
have been
it's no
like
wrong, Wrong answer.
2016, but
Okay.
you know, drop a comment if you know exactly what year.
Dude,
Show
please.
this one.
Oh,
When you pull it out, turn that to the
Jamie.
camera.
Yeah. JP, baby.
Yeah.
Goddamn legend. Big fan of this cat right here. Oh, shit, dude.
Oh, wow.
South Park, man?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude. That one is fucking rad.
Gnarly, huh?
Holy shit.
That's Timmy, man. Timmy! You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Timmy! Dude, holy shit, this one's rad.
So he's doing the little skate Mafia,
Yeah.
and he's got his little doobie, and yeah, it's such a fire graphic, man. For me, this encompasses my joy for collecting skateboard decks.
Yeah.
Because it's literally taking South Park, which is nostalgia,
Yeah.
and then it's slapping, you know, then it's making him Jamie,
Yeah.
right? And it's edgy.
It's so
know?
crazy. Like, I wonder how they even make these graphics. I've always wondered that, you know, like over the years, how they just create like a South Park theme, just like out of thin air, you know? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the bandwidth to figure that out, but it's fucking a sick one.
I'm gonna definitely lobby for a TJ one of those. I already know who you need.
Cease and assist, but hopefully one day.
Hey, that just makes them more rare, man.
I know, for real.
We're keeping it rolling.
Quality printing is spot colored.
Yeah.
Oh,
right?
yeah, we have our deck manufacturing
Manufacturer, right
printing
here.
expert. He said
Yep.
spot color.
Sorry.
What does that mean, Marko? Can you tell
So
peeps?
spot color versus CMYK,
Sorry.
where they lay like each color in a separate layer
Okay.
on the transfer, or we used to do it directly on the board. So now, you know, the easy way is you do CMYK, 4 screens that make every color.
CMYK.
Yeah, that's like 4 different screens, cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, versus spot color printing, which is more expensive.
Okay.
But the colors come out brighter.
Okay, that's interesting.
Like, yeah, those blind decks, that's
That's
spot color printing,
Oh,
because
okay.
they pop. See how the
Crazy.
colors pop?
Yeah, yeah,
As
yeah.
where in the 90s,
The 90s was all silk screening, which
Silk
means
screening.
one color was laid on the board, and then you had to wait for the color to dry, and then a second color and a third color. It was expensive and like time-consuming process.
For sure.
Yeah.
I
So
love them
now.
man. As a deck collector, because you know, like so much time
Yeah,
into this.
and it's thicker also. When it was silk screen, the ink was on thicker.
Yeah.
Then now in
That's
the
what I
back,
was-
we do heat transfer printing.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I remember back in the day,
Yeah.
all my stepsister's stepdad, crazy. He used to actually do silk screening at his place, like
Oh,
where he'd have
yeah.
like the thing and just put
Right,
it all
you
over
pull,
the board with,
yep.
with the paint.
The squidgy.
Yeah, squeegee, and I was always so blown away because it took him days to like do different graphics because there was a couple different layers, you know.
Yeah, you have to wait to like
Yeah,
dry and
then
put a
it
second
has to
over.
be so precise too that it was a lot more time and effort into those boards nowadays.
It's a lot of work.
And they literally
now-
put in the descriptions like may have imperfections because every board
Yeah.
is essentially unique.
Yeah, for
A
sure.
little different.
Right.
101s, baby.
Let's keep it going.
All right.
Boom. There's some crazy X factors in there, man.
Oh, I can only imagine. Just the last two I've been blown away at. Holy
The
shit.
Mafia. Oh,
Oh,
my
wow.
God.
Ooh.
Wow.
That's a sick.
Oh, is that
one.
Marshall?
Yeah.
Damn, and he signed it too?
Signed it, bro.
Yeah, yo.
Oh,
Come
wow.
on. Yo, he is the Don. Marshall? Oh.
Yeah.
That's a
That's
fucking
this-
sick
this-
graphic.
CMYK.
Scarface, Tony Montana.
Yeah.
That's
come
just legendary.
on.
That's just iconic, you know?
Yeah, no, this one's
Tony
fresh.
Montana.
That's a
I've never
sick
seen this one.
Yeah, so they did
Say
De-
hello to
detail-
my little friend.
and they did the Scarface and they did Godfather. So I think on the wall we have some Godfather ones too.
Okay.
Which is like fire, man. I mean,
Damn.
these are highly sought after. Obviously, you can tell because it's
Yeah.
like, if you like Scarface, if you like Godfather, boom. And that again, skateboard deck collecting, bro. It's like
This is crazy. So how long have you, I mean, I'll ask that question after. That one is
like a-
fucking sick.
yeah.
Honestly, all these graphic, even just the last few that I've seen are definitely fucking crazy.
Next up.
Yeah.
Is it fun? This is the ASMR moment right here.
I know, this is like, sorry, I farted. No, I'm just kidding.
Let it rip, baby. Oh yeah.
Okay, here we go. What's this one all about? It looks like we're on a beach with the beer and whatnot. And, oh, is it like a potato? Oh, this is Smolick.
Wow.
Holy shit,
Oh,
SG, baby.
shit.
There you go. Oh, wow.
Yep, they did a little Potato Head, Mr. Potato Head series.
Wow.
So there's a couple. I have some on the wall, but this is the Smolick, man. I
One
mean,
signed.
the OG.
Oh, yeah,
no,
the
triple
OG.
OG.
Yeah.
OG,
Yeah.
triple OG.
Triple
Gotta
OG.
pay some respects to this guy right here, dude.
And he signed it.
Yeah,
You know,
holy
we tracked
shit.
him down.
When'd you meet up with that cat?
I had to connect,
Did
meet
you?
up with him.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, because I mean, Smolick is like.
It's hard.
Shout out
Come
to
across.
Smolick, man.
Yeah.
No, he's
You know,
hard to
I used to
find.
think the abominable snowman was
Well,
like
it's
hard
like-
to find, but like
Yeah.
Yo,
Smolick.
This guy.
he's literally a unicorn, often talked about but rarely seen.
Yeah. The only pictures I've seen of Smolick are RC cars, and
No
that's
way.
okay.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Damn, that's a sick board right there.
Legendary. Had to, man. That's the OG.
Yeah,
All right,
no,
we
you
got
gotta pay respects where it's due, and got mad love for Smolick right there. Damn. Holy
Next up,
shit,
we're
man,
rifling
blown
through
away.
these. We're rifling through these,
Yep.
man. Bangers.
Okay.
Skate Mafia, you've been there for a year, and now you gotta take it back. The history.
All right, what do we got?
Uh-oh. What is this one? Holy shit, what is this one? Oh, a Jake Brown?
Yeah, buddy. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
Dude, Jake was on blind for a long time.
Exactly.
This was a
Yeah.
guest board or was like...
No, he
was on for a minute,
He was
right?
on for a minute.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
he
was
was
on.
on
was
for a
on
minute?
for a minute.
Yeah, like after blind, I think
Right.
he actually got on Mafia for a second.
Yes.
Oh,
The more I
yeah.
think about it, damn, dude.
Yeah, he got on for a sec.
I completely forgot about that until now.
And this is the Daft Punk.
Yeah. This is like...
Oh, that's still.
I've never even seen this one, let alone all of them so far, but dude, you got some fucking bangers,
Thanks,
dude.
man.
I know when Mafia watches this, they're gonna probably hit you up and be like, yo, we need some of those.
I've never
up,
seen
man.
another one of these, and when I saw, I was like, dude, I gotta have that. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
holy
love
shit.
EDM and Daft Punk, and then Jake Brown. Come on, man.
Yeah, no, Jake Brown is an
Right?
absolute
Oh.
legend.
Legend.
Fuck, I can't believe he's still walking after that.
After
big
the slam?
one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's a...
That was insane.
dude, right?
Shout out to Jake Brown.
Yeah, shout outs, dog.
Much love.
Big love. Dago.
You got the hang of
That's
these
it,
now.
yeah.
I
Wasn't
jinxed
as
it.
satisfying.
I jinxed it. I
Yeah.
jinxed it. But I think the board will be
Oh,
very...
dude, I have this T-shirt at home, but I ripped it and I
Really?
was so bummed. Oh my fucking god!
This
I
might
can't
be the
believe you
goated-
have this one.
This
dude.
might be the
wow.
goated one.
Wow.
Literally.
I want this one so bad.
This is the
god
goated
damn
one.
it, dude.
Not gonna lie, bro, I paid like $1,500 for that board.
I fucking bet you did.
And it was worth it.
Yeah.
Because I have a basketball background.
Michael Jordan with fucking
That's a
Kobe
dope
Bryant.
board.
But you see what they're doing?
Holy shit! Yeah, the Mafia.
Yep.
Come on. I have the T-shirt at home. Oh my god, dude.
So when I saw it, I literally
Yeah,
like...
you had
this
to
was
get
the
it?
Yeah, the beginning of Flipping Boards, I saw that
Where-
board. I was like, I need
where did you get it
that
at?
board.
bought it off
I bought it off someone on eBay.
On eBay,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it was like the only one. And I was like, bro, I need
just-
this.
yeah.
And that's the thing that people don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, when you
want it,
a graphic,
you're gonna
I'm
get
like,
it.
I
Yeah.
will pay $1,500 at this moment to have that on my wall because it means so much to me.
Damn.
Wow.
Right,
It's definitely
right.
a non-negotiable trade right there. That's
man.
a good one right there.
Grail. That's what we call a grail.
Yeah, no,
You know
that
what
is
I'm saying?
like, dude, every one that I've seen, I've been like, fuck, I want that one. But every one keeps getting better, then I'm
It's-
like, Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
You have a really amazing collection.
Thank you, man.
And this is
Means a
just
lot.
Mafia too, by the way. So
Right.
just make sure to actually check out his site for FlippinBoards, because yo, he's probably got some even more bigger gems in there that you guys
Word.
can get, especially if there's specific brands that you like. Like, I've seen your collection on some other boards, but like, I didn't know you had this many Mafia boards.
Oh,
this is
bro.
fucking, this is insane.
There was like one summer where it was just like, skate Mafia or die.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's respect. Oh, wow.
Now
Yep.
we're going down a memory lane.
Memory lane. I said there were some X factors in
There
here.
was some X Factors, yeah. Now, this is a
So-
classic right here. This
James
was one of my
Craig.
favorite boards when I was a kid. And it comes with the fucking grip tape insert, too. Damn.
Real
That's
deal.
that's a classic right there. It's funny.
James
There
Craig,
you go. I was just about to say, I had a reissue of that board.
Next to each other, like,
You know? It's pretty crazy to see how they're both here like that. I've
Yeah.
actually never seen them both together like this, so it's kind of cool to just kind of look, because obviously the comparison of both graphics, I'll kind of stand up for
Yeah,
this one.
different process.
Well,
different printing process.
That too, but not only is like the big gulp, but they just switched it to the 7-Eleven font with my name instead of putting
Yeah.
it big up here.
Yeah.
And obviously it's a Reaper instead of just like my face looking fried, brother. And similar chocolate bar though.
Yep.
Just different kit, you know? And shout out to James Craig 100%.
shout out James Craig. Shout out Marko.
Yeah, shout out
T.
James.
He's a legend. I love James.
Sick.
Marko, is this
What-
one screened?
So this is old school 6 screening. What year was this?
Woo! 99,
You see like all the
2000?
halftone.
99,
pattern?
2000.
So that's like, yeah, that's how they were saving money. they use like a black halftone over another color.
Yeah.
So that's how they got basically 3 colors out of 2 screens.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can tell, yeah, it's old school.
That's
Dude,
so cool.
Still in shrink.
Yeah. This
Some
is,
boards gotta be left in shrink. I take the wrap off a lot. One of my guys is always like, I take it off every time, but this one still had the
No,
grip.
if it's still looking fresh,
It
you
is
don't
fresh.
need to. If there was like a scratch on the sides or something, then maybe, but like,
Right.
that's still in prime condition too.
And actually, some of these, so over time, because they are screened, they do get a little cracking. But
Yeah.
as collectors, we low-key love that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it just shows the vintageness.
Yeah.
what about the shrink burn?
Well,
Shrink
okay.
wrap burn.
So you can actually look at it and be like, okay, like,
You have to take it out and then redo it every so often.
Really?
You get little, like the plastic will melt onto the graphic.
it's possible.
You got
It's
your
possible.
boy out.
It's
He can
possible.
help you out.
It's possible,
you
yeah.
know?
We could re-shrink.
Damn.
Re-shrink the Wallride X.
I really love how the fact it had the grip tape part because a lot of people always, I mean, at least when I was a kid,
Yeah.
that was like a thing that we all loved growing up, is like having that little insert, just to
Right.
have like a little, it's
Little
not
extra
only a collectible, but you
bonus.
could put it on a board too, and you could kind of like,
It's those little intricacies, man. Those little things. And that's,
Details.
again, that's nostalgia, bro. You're like, you look at that, you're like, damn, we should bring that. Someone's got to bring that back. That's fire. Come on. Just throw it in. Throw it in the bag.
no, right?
Oh, we only got 2
That would
more,
be sick.
man. This one.
Okay.
This one right here.
Shit, I see my name on the top,
Yeah.
so I'm
So
curious.
still a surprise, though.
Yep, curious. Oh, I already know.
Show them. Show
Yep.
them.
This is a
Oh,
classic.
sign on the top.
Yeah.
That's what he
And
does. He's unique. He
You
signs
sign both, top and bottom?
I always, like, whenever I've done boards
Oh.
in the past, especially, like, for Dez and whatnot
Yeah.
as well, like, and also other people, because, like, typically there's only a certain amount of them, especially if it shows the run right here, that I'm like, okay, this was, like, a certain run of, like, how many boards that I had for a specific thing, a project, or whatever it was.
That's a
That
small run.
we only had 12, I guess, of this one specifically. So I just wanted to sign it and put, the year as well. And yeah, I mean, it's actually crazy that you have this one too, because, back in the day, I mean, I guess I could say it was back in the day, it was 6 years ago now. Blind never really wanted to bring back the Reaper originally at the beginning because they thought that that's what kind of hurt the brand back in the day, to where it kind of almost went under. And then, they tried to rebrand themselves and do a bunch of different things. And right before COVID, we decided to kind of bring the Reaper back. And I remember the first series of the Reaper, it was all on a wood veneer board. And I remember this specific TM that worked in the building as well. His name was Eric. And he was like a filmer as well. Super cool cat. Big love for him. And we went in the back to go grab me some boards, and I seen a bunch of gold foil, silver foil, and bronze foil, just
Bronze?
just
Wow,
like random
cool.
ones. And I was like, yo, dude, I really need to like put a gold graphic on the Reaper, because I think P-Rod might have just started doing that. I gotta pay
Yeah.
I gotta pay respect
Yep.
and credit where it's due.
Yep.
P-Rod
Yes,
was definitely the one
absolutely.
that kind of started the gold foil.
put
But
it on the
Blind and Dwindle like had a bunch of heat transfers in their workshop. So I was like, oh man, like it would be just sick to just do that once, And like I did a couple for myself, and they weren't to be for sale, but I posted it on my Instagram, just being like, yo, check it out, the Reaper's
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
And
People-
like there
people
was
liked it.
the biggest demand for them. It was like huge to where
Pops.
yeah,
The character
yeah,
pops.
no, exactly, and just obviously the gold and the heritage of like the Reaper from back in the day, and
sick.
obviously it's a subliminal with my name here,
Yeah.
but it was just like it was just the graphic and with the gold, so it was just a really cool story that it was just like a random idea that me and Eric Clavel had, and it ended up turning out to be like I think a really big hit for Blind at one point, and I think I'm not too sure the exact number of boards that they made. I know that I have a 10 out of 12 here. But I think that was a shorter run out of the ones that we had. And I think it was like 25 altogether, 13 silver, maybe 12 gold. But then they ended up actually like making a lot of them. I don't want to say a certain number, but they sold out instantly.
But only 12 signed.
12.
Only 12 signed.
I have a question for you, TJ. So these blind decks were made with epoxy glue,
Yep, Dwindle.
right? So each deck is pressed in the mold, just one deck, single press deck, right?
Yep.
And then the US and Mexico, they press 4 decks in a mold with water-based glue.
Yeah.
Which one did you like better? epoxy or the new water-based?
I
What
personally,
you're skating now or back in the
I
day?
personally like the epoxy, and I still skate the epoxy.
You still do?
yes.
Yeah? You
Yes,
get
I do.
custom.
Yeah, so like all my boards have carbon fiber as well because when I skate, like we'll get to that question
Yeah,
later,
right.
but like when I back in the day when I was young,
is it a full carbon or is just impact? Is it just a
it's
disc?
an impact light. So
a light, so the
yeah,
discs, two discs.
No discs. It had just the top layer on my board because originally they did that for a couple seasons or a couple years, but then they took that away because I was doing a lot of trial and error and testing for Dwindle at the time when I was riding for them. And the impact light specifically, or the double impact is what they called it, was where they had the impact discs here and then on the top. I would still break the boards on the other side because if I landed too hard, the disc would pop out.
Wow.
So
Impact, yeah.
yeah, so then they ended up just making an impact light because not only was it lighter, it was just a little bit more efficient and it was just easier to ride. But yeah.
So
blasting
another
pads.
note with Blind, I think Blind was the oldest brand under Dwindle, and I think it was the best-selling brand under Dwindle.
100%.
That's what I heard. So the oldest brand and the best-selling
Over
brand.
World?
Over
World
World
was-
eventually pulled out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
like
okay.
almost
after the sale and
10,
everything.
Towards the
We're
end.
talking about
Towards the
second
end.
half. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
it's interesting that you say that because
Right?
I always thought that, but then
That's what I heard.
But Weiss always told me too that it was almost an Enjoy, but I really had a feeling it was Blind. You know, like there's obviously just hardships in the brands
Right.
and everything, but I really think Blind was definitely the one kind of doing their thing. But I think Almost and Enjoy personally had a little bit more of a vision for the team riders and for the actual brand collectively. That Blind was just kind of like living off of their graphics in the old heydays, especially for the last few years that they were around, unfortunately.
Kind of like a gift and a curse.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
right.
But I was very grateful to be a part of them.
They got sold. Dwindle got sold.
A few times.
Yeah, the last sale was to Bravo Sports, and that's
Correct.
when the things went. Unfortunately,
Quick question though. All right,
answer.
so yeah, very quick. Woo! What's the woo about?
It's actually, woo.
Oh my bad.
But yeah, it's close enough.
butchered.
But yeah, no. The thing was, what I used to do back in the day was like, I remember Weiss and everyone always telling me like, yo, you need to have like a pitch or like a line, like something that like people can like, remember you by, and
Who told you this?
Weiss, Bill
Bill Weiss, the
Bill
team
Weiss,
manager.
Bill
team
Weiss,
manager
yeah.
of Blind. So I don't know. Ever since I was a kid, I was always like into wolves and wolf packs and shit. And like all my homies from back in the day that I grew up with, they would always like, whenever people were trying tricks to get each other hyped up, they were always like, whoo, whoo. So it was just kind of like a whoo, and like I always just put it on the board, but I've never really explained that. So that was a really good question.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's show it one more time so they can see the woo.
Yeah.
And don't you like like graffiti art or
Yeah.
tagging?
Yeah, a little bit.
I remember you told me that.
Yeah, I tag a little bit here and there, but just mainly in my
Yes,
doodle books. I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it though, man, because I noticed that you signed the top and the back, both sides of the board. I was like, damn,
That's
that-
different.
That stood out
That's
to me.
different.
Yeah.
And it takes
different.
more time. So even if it's only like 20 more seconds, that means a lot.
No, for sure. Well, it's like even one of these boards that I did for you in the past,
Yep.
it says, thanks for
yeah.
the support, and it says the date, but it also says FlippinBoards too.
Cool. Right.
So you know where it came from as well, right? Because back in the day, I wasn't doing that specifically who it came from. But now, especially, like, I'm trying to make sure that I implement that because I think it's just like a special moment. So, like, people can, like, be like, oh, damn, yeah, I got it not only from FlippinBoards and Dez, but, like, this was like a signed board, and there was only so many of them,
Right.
at this time through his website. Right?
Extra layer of authenticity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
you know.
Extra layer. All right, we got one more. Last
right,
one.
let's keep moving.
Last one, man.
Yeah.
You've done great. You've made it through the gauntlet.
Sheesh.
This is the one right here.
Alrighty. I mean, I don't know. Those other ones were fucking crazy. Oh, shit. There we
Happy
go.
1 year.
Yeah, thank
Happy
you.
Mafia 1 year,
Appreciate
man.
that, man. Yeah. Oh, Mafia.
See ya.
Stoked.
Tower.
It's crazy because I actually just brought, just for like props in the background, not only my handboard too, but then also my fingerboard as well. So you can get all three. But you want to know what's crazy?
And BB. Don't forget
And of
BB.
course, BB's right here. BB, come here. Come here. Jump up. Come on. Yeah. This is exactly how the board was. She was sitting on me like this. And yeah, it's pretty fucking rad.
What's up?
But yeah, what's cool about this graphic specifically was we got the idea to do this like
Yeah, where's this picture at?
so
Yeah, this is a good.
actually
He climbed up the CN Tower, man, in Toronto,
yeah, exactly.
in Canada. You know how high that is?
So-
you ever seen those documentaries where they free climb?
No.
I got a funny. Well, I got two stories. My dad actually helped build the stairs in the CN Tower in the '80s, and my grandpa helped build the top of the pyramid, top of the CN Tower as well, back in the '80s once it was built. So
Cool.
having this board was like a really, it felt,
Personal
yeah, it was a very personal meaning and like touch towards everything, to where I was like really grateful to have this as my first board, and also like a rebrand of like my identity with a different brand, you know? Because I rode for Blind for so long, like 15 years, that
Long time.
I didn't really know if I was, like I didn't really quit to be a part of a different brand at first. Like I was just like, you know, Dwindle ended up getting bought out, and it was pretty much just like the best way to explain it was like pretty much like a dead,
Like a sinking ship.
it was a sinking ship, but like at the, hold on, the best way to explain how Dwindle was, you know, as it was going out, was the fact that it was like you were at sea and there was no driver, you know, on the boat.
Yeah.
Like there was just no captain, there was no one helping, trying to move anything.
So it wasn't even a matter of if, it was just a matter of when.
Yeah.
When you're going
and
to
I
hit
was
the
just-
iceberg, when we're going to hit the bridge, when we're going to just
Exactly.
go under.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's correct. Basically, what happened with Dwindle, it was under Globe Shoes, and Bravo Sports bought it for
Yep.
like 1.5 million.
Yeah.
All those brands.
But not the equity in the brands.
And then what happened when COVID came? The sales were like big through the roof, and then the investors that bought it, then they took the money out of Dwindle, and then basically Dwindle didn't have money for marketing, like team riders, photographers, filmers. I think
Probably.
that's what I heard.
Probably
And
is
then
what
there's no
happened.
more money left in the bucket.
Yeah, makes
then,
sense. I'm still owed a lot of money.
I'm not sure what the.
I was going to say that. I was like, well, the
Still
way
owed a lot of money.
that's
Oh,
the way to
man.
kind of
Yeah.
So
reverse
that's
engineer
I don't know
this
if that's
is
the truth or not, but that's kind of what I heard.
I saw like some filmers literally get paid in blanks. They're like, they couldn't give us money, so they just gave us like
Yeah.
100 blanks.
Yeah, I wish they did that for me. I even hit the guy up that still works there to this day, and I asked him like, "Yo, you guys owe me a bunch of money. Like, you want to give me products so I could sell it, maybe to Dez or like whatever."
Yeah.
And yeah, they didn't even hit me back. You know, and this was in 23. This was a long time ago before I got on Mafia, but it was definitely frustrating to see and bittersweet to see how it ended the way that it did. You know, Weiss ended up, you know, losing his job, and everyone at the whole company, kind of Luis, Cruz. I mean, even Bod Boyle. Bod Boyle left a little earlier, just because he'd kind of probably seen the writing on the walls and whatnot. But yeah, it was just unfortunate all around, you know?
Well, Dwindle was the biggest skateboarding distribution in the world,
Yeah.
and not just once, the second time,
Yeah.
which is almost impossible.
What do you mean by that? Like you're saying
Like
first
the-
end of the 90s, and then again? What? How can you say
Yeah,
once
'cause
and twice?
it was like the
World
biggest,
Industries.
like
World, when they-
yeah, it was like the
There's
biggest, like they,
Deca.
yeah.
There's so many
Got some
amazing
of those.
brands. Yo,
Yeah.
show me. I loved Deca as a kid.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
Some day ones.
There was the biggest twice, and then for that distribution to go under, that's like a sign in the industry like things are changing.
Yeah.
Well,
That's how I saw it.
But it was like, it's just, even right now, there's a big just question mark, right? Like it's literally like, oh, that ship is still at sea, but it's like,
No driver.
no driver, no, but
captain.
everyone left. Everyone left. Everyone jumped on lifeboats, rafts.
There's a couple people still like trying to hang on and like, you know, whatnot, which is unfortunate, but it's like, yeah, it's tough, man. It's skateboarding's it's a hard game to be a part of, you know.
It
to
is.
Be, and
It
to
is.
be involved,
It's
you
a
know,
hard game.
for even a decade or longer. Like, you know, as I always learned from when I was a kid, like you always want to do what makes you happy and what you love, because money comes and goes in any industry. So as long as you're happy doing whatever you're doing, that's all that matters. And don't get me wrong, in any type of job, in industry, in any world, there's always going to be, you know, your down days or your up days, and like you don't like working with this person or that person, but like you just got to remember and reflect that like, yo, you're doing it because you love it. So like, who cares about all the other bullshit, you know? It's in my own
Right.
opinion, my own perspective,
No, that's
you know?
facts, man. So, okay, this graphic. Tell us how it was
Yeah, so
shot. 'cause-
getting
you
back to
didn't-
it.
Did you climb to the top?
No, so I didn't climb to the top of this, but actually this photo was taken of me and BB at NoHo Skate Park.
What?
Yeah, and then
NoHo?
yeah, and then yeah, exactly. Got to pay respects. My homie Luke Wooden, who's like a really good photographer, he shot the photo of just me and BB, and then we just pretty much like I sent the photo to Dan because he asked for it in a specific way, so we sent it to him, and then he ended up buying an image online, of the CN Tower.
Photoshopped in.
And just photoshopped me in there. And then honestly, because like
Looks real,
how
yeah.
he wanted me to do it, he was like, yo, I want you to be sitting on the top. So go to NoHo and sit on the top, like go to a ledge where your feet can dangle. So I went to like the low to high mani pad in NoHo and I just sat there with my legs dangling and I just took a photo.
Dope.
And
It's good, looks real.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you put a little
Oh, yeah.
shadow behind it.
Yeah, exactly. So it was cool and very hyped and honestly very grateful and so fucking stoked to be a part of it and to have this board be my first, especially with the history that I have from my family too. I just thought it was a really good piece. And then it's funny, I'm actually about to pitch another idea to where I could possibly maybe try and skate on the top of the CN Tower.
Whoa.
But,
For real though.
yeah, we'll see what happens.
Bro, I was literally gonna ask you like, hey, would you be down though to actually go up there? Because I see your rail.
Yeah. Well, so
crazy.
so this specifically too, this railing, there's actually like right here, this print off or this little layer, I should say. That's like a little platform to where you can stand on it and then you get hooked to this railing with like a bungee cord so you can kind of hang off of it and then look down.
Wow.
So it's, yeah, I was like, oh man, like it'd be such a cool idea to like skateboard up there and like build a bunch of ramps.
Whoa.
I don't know if that'll actually happen, but it would be cool if we could.
Right. No, you're on the path, man. If someone can do it, you already have the vision.
Well, not
And
only
you got family history with
Yeah.
the CN.
it just would mean a lot in just so many ways. I don't know exactly what I do up there because it's probably so fucking windy, but it would just be cool to experience and to kind of like, you know, check another thing off the list of things that would be rad for me to do.
First, and for a first graphic, this is like straight fire, bro.
Yeah, thank you. It's cool too because like, so just a little context on this board as well. Like the CN Tower, it's like the fourth, I think, almost like, I think it's the fourth tallest building in the world. Maybe not anymore. But back in the day it was, when I remember. And the bottom floor is kind of like you can see, it's just like you can kind of look out and whatnot. And then up here is a restaurant that revolves and it kind of does circles. I actually went up there for my first time just after COVID. And it was like such a cool experience just to be up there and like you start on the east side for dinner and then at the end of it you'd be on the west side.
west
You're like,
side?
what the fuck? It was super sick.
TJ, what size decks do you skate?
So what I skate in 825. And
825.
825, and typically I skate,
Best-selling size.
yeah, I guess so nowadays. Back in the day, it wouldn't be. But yeah, I skate in 8.2, and typically my length on my boards are 31.4. So it's a little shorter than the average board, because typically they're like 31.7 to 32 average. But
What's your wheelbase?
14.
14, so shorter.
Yeah, exactly.
Shorter. It's 14 and a quarter for normal for 8
yeah.
to 5 decks.
Yeah, exactly.
A
So
quarter inch shorter.
Yeah.
So which is the new trend now? The decks are
yeah,
shorter.
well, it's so you can actually
It's
be
easier
more
to do
technical.
tricks. Yeah.
And in my own opinion, I don't know, I've been skating the same shape for, damn, like 13, 14 years.
Wow.
Ever since pretty much like, I think it was right after I switched 360 to Hollywood 16. I remember I tried to do that trick and I got off a flight from Toronto to fly to LA. And when I did it, I broke my board in the middle and on my tail. You could see the ride channel edit that's an uncut on YouTube. And right after that, Weiss was like, yo, dude, we don't want to like you to hurt yourself like that again, you know, like you're gonna start skating impact boards, which was with the carbon fiber.
Yeah,
And
carbon fiber.
at that time, I was skating an 8.1, and then I ended up, you know, making it a little wider to an 8.2, and which is technically like at least at Dwindle was the L92 shape. And,
L92.
Yeah,
Yep.
and then I ended up just kind of running with that ever since.
Talking about that trick, can you touch up on the subject of MBDs? Like when Dave Baczynski kickflip El Toro, when a skater does a crazy trick at a famous spot,
Yep.
how did that trick change your skateboarding career?
NBD, never been done.
Never been done. Yes, but
Massive.
at a famous spot that's gnarly.
If an
Like
NBD
Hollywood
happens,
16.
Yeah.
It's like it sends a
So-
wave throughout the whole industry, like NBD, like
It puts you like on a map. Maybe
Exactly.
you could talk
Okay,
about
it's
it.
a staple, yeah.
And how did that go about, that trick? And then what did it do for your career?
So that's a three-part question. So I'm going to start with the first part here. And I think for how the Switch 3 was specifically, like doing an NBD on any reputable spot. It's
insane.
Well, it's not only insane, but it gives you that validation and stamp on your career of being like, yo, that guy
right.
did that. And I think that's what Weiss always taught me at a young age was like, yo, TJ, like, you're from Canada, you got to work harder than these Americans, you know, because like they already have their posse and their crew, and like you need to kind of like step up to the plate and do something different, and also like show who you are as a person. He knew my bag of tricks. He knew what I was capable of and like what I was about. That you know, even prior to even Switch 360 Hollywood, you know, with Dave Beristain, with like El Toro, where like exactly where Dave Beristain
put him on the
El
map.
Toro, exactly. But you know, that was like a pinnacle point, and then Ryan DeCenzo with a nollie down it, and that put him on the map as well.
That's
with
right.
the Globe United by Fate 4-par. And at that time, I remember my first trip coming to California, which was January 09, and I went there being like, oh yeah, I could do it. And like I went there and I got scared. I got the fear. I was like, I'm not doing this right now. Maybe in a year, you know, like I'm not ready yet. I was still 17, you know, I was like almost 18. I was like, I'm not ready. I ended up coming back. I was actually in Arizona for a trip, and we're going to El Toro first, and then we'll go back to Hollywood.
Right.
But 2010 February ended up coming around, and then I was staying in Arizona, and I decided to come out here for the weekend to LA. And on the way back, I was just jokingly to like my homies Tyrone and Brendan Humphrey, being like, "Yo, let's go check out Hollywood or El Toro. Like it's on the way home to Arizona. Like let's go check it out.
Check it out, yeah.
And it was like sunset. I was like, oh fuck it, like I'm just gonna fly down this thing. There was only one filmer, like no photographer, nothing. I was like, let's just try it. I tried it 7 times. I landed on it 4 out of the 7, and I ended up just like getting the worst heel bruise to where I couldn't skate. And I ended up just like limping back to the car, and then we drove back to Arizona. And then a week later, I ended up having to like leave on that Monday morning. But that weekend, right before I left, I was like feeling a little better, and I knew I wanted to go back out to Cali. And I told Weiss that I landed on the Switch 180, and I sent him the footage, and he was like, holy shit, like, yeah, you gotta come back. And I was like, okay, like, let's come back. So I asked Tyrone and Brendan, like, yo, can you help me out? We ended up driving back out there, ended up skating this one spot in Costa Mesa where it's like a big grass gap over sidewalk that Morgan backside flipped, and I also switch flipped in This Is Not a Test, my blind part. And I ended up doing that like within like a couple tries, and then I was like, all right, I'm fucking ready, let's go. I went to El Toro, and then I like landed on it first try, slipped out, and then I ran back up. I was listening to my iPod at the time, and I'll never forget, I put on like Lil Wayne, Money to Blow. Yeah. And I was like, all right, it's game on. Sick. And then I did it second try.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Wow.
Appreciate that.
Sick,
and then going fast forward, like after that, first of all, I was like, yo, what's the next spot, Weiss, before we got to go back to AZ? Hit another double set. I tray flipped it quick, and then we drove back to AZ. But on that time period, Weiss was like, yo, like, we're going to do something with you. Just like, you know, just hang tight, and we're going to figure it all out. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, grateful, you know, like, just stoked that I landed this shit for myself first and foremost, but like to maybe hopefully be a part of something. And then that was kind of where it all started, you know. And then 2 years later, or actually I guess 3 years later, because it was January 2013, I remember breaking up with one of my girls when I was living in Canada. I broke up with one of my chicks because I was just starting to travel a lot, and pretty much they were like, Weiss was like, I just switched 360 this other 12 stair in Toronto area, like where I grew up.
12 stair?
Yeah, it was like this one, and it was in a Bones part that's still online. And Weiss was like, yo, dude, you could do that down Hollywood 16 the way that you just did that. Like, you could do it. And I was like,
because it's Canadian 12 is bigger than US 12?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, really?
It was like a fifth. It was
it's
probably
different. And
Canadian 12
is bigger than US.
The stairs are bigger.
So does European 12 is bigger than.
Yeah, like the stairs are definitely bigger.
Bigger.
Like way bigger. So like
it's kind of like a 13 or 14.
No, it was like a 14, 15. I would like to think, you know, at that time. And yeah, Weiss was stoked, and he was like, yo, like you can come out here and do it on this 16. And I was like, all right, pay for my flight. I'll come out. Ended up going out there, broke up with my ex, and then ended up like getting on the flight, getting to LA, and it was like in January, like I said, so it was fucking, it would get dark around 4:35. You know what I'm saying?
So
and like I landed,
Canada.
Snow in Canada, and I like haven't been skating as much.
Sunny California.
Yeah, and then. But it gets dark early here. You guys know,
right?
In January, it gets dark.
4:30, 4:45.
Exactly.
It's dark.
My flight landed at 3:30 in the afternoon, and then we rushed all the way to Hollywood. it was already getting dark, and I was like, oh shit, like I'm feeling pressured and rushed to get
Straight off
this.
the plane.
Yeah, straight off the plane.
spot.
5-hour flight.
Wow.
It's not good.
Not ideal.
No.
But we ended up just going there because we kind of set everything up, and I just didn't want to let him down, and I still wanted to do it, so it's not on him. If I wasn't into it, I would have just said not today. But I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. And then I ended up breaking my board in the middle and on my tail, hit my head, ended up going to the hospital, got 3 staples in my head, and that was on a Thursday.
Wow.
And 3 days later, on a Sunday, we went to Jaquan. And I ended up doing a line there in my blind dam part where I did switch basement tail, the switch, fakie flip, turned around, I did nollie flip, nose grind, shove. And then I seen Romar, Morgan Smith, Seva, Spencer Hamilton, like a bunch of my homies that were in town at the time. And I was just so gassed that like, not only did I just smoke my head, but I was like so horny to skate. And I was like, I'm just gonna go do it right now. Like I'm fucking hyped.
Yeah.
And then I ended up going there, and then I ended up landing it, you know.
How many
probably-
tries?
I would like to say within 10 tries.
Wow.
You know, something like that.
Sick.
Yeah, something like that. I'm not 100% the exact amount, but it wasn't.
Switch
yeah.
frontside 360, Hollywood 16.
Yeah, switch front 3, Hollywood 16, yeah.
Oh my God!
After doing that, I was very grateful, and all the homies were there. They were giving me hype, and it just kind of solidified. I was like, okay, I know that, you know, something could happen for myself in the future, and I'm really grateful.
Yeah.
So, and then just to go back to reiterate what you asked earlier, Marko, about like doing NBDs on tricks, on spots specifically that are iconic. Like,
Iconic
if
spots.
you ever have a trick that you could do on an iconic spot that hasn't been done, I highly recommend you do it because of the fact that like, there's only a small window for yourself to be able to do those tricks, that you want to make sure that you at least try to take advantage of that at the best capacity that you can. And
Absolutely.
you know,
How so? Because the progression and people are just landing stuff all the like.
not only the progression and just
You
how
make a big splash.
well, exactly, you're making
game,
a name
yeah.
for yourself,
But how do you? How come you only have a small window?
because you never know what can happen.
Somebody else is gonna come and do it.
There's only so many MBDs
There you
out
go.
there, right?
There's
And
only so many tricks.
And you never know,
they
right?
become ABDs, right?
Exactly, and then if it's an ABD, people don't really care because you're just doing a trick that someone else already did, and you don't get that same respect. So that's always been something for me since I was a young kid, trying to just know my skating and my trick selection and how I could implement those on specific spots that could be like notable and be like, oh shit, that guy did that here. You know, it's like you can look down my record a little bit with Wallenberg and like all the other shit that I've done, Rincon. There's so many spots in the infamous spots in California specifically that I've skated that I'm just very grateful that I got those tricks,
Yeah.
but also like it was the right time, right place.
Right.
And also I had
Yeah.
the right people pushing me and helping me guide me in the right direction of where they knew where I could be.
Gotcha.
You know, so major shout outs to Weiss and everyone that was there for me and still is there for me to this day.
Naked 540s.
Did he answer? Did he answer?
Luis, what a
that was
fucking
three-parter?
legend.
Did he answer?
No.
You good? Or you had the third part?
There was a third part to it.
So your career.
Yeah.
The
Oh, what happened?
switch, yeah, afterwards.
The after effect.
Yeah, so
After the trick.
yeah, so like
Have
even
you noticed your career exploded or?
yeah,
you.
I mean, I feel like personally, me doing that switch front 3 back in 2013 January was it was a pinnacle moment for me to where everyone, when that video came out, everyone knew who I was and like what I was about. And you know, I was still pretty young at that point too, so it was like they were all just like, oh, is this gonna be like a one-hit wonder type shit, you know? Like, is this gonna be somebody that's gonna stick around for a long time? So like, you know, I progressively in each project that I worked on, I always tried to do at least one notable trick on like something that's like impactful, that's like, oh my God, like he did that on that spot, like I said, because that is what kind of keeps you relevant and like keep people talking about you. That I think that's important nowadays, especially now than ever where social media is now, where you're just like,
is.
if you're just kind of doing the same tricks at like the same spots that everyone skates, you kind of get lost in the sauce of like knowing like, you know, yeah, you're a great skater and people fuck with you, but like, what has he really done that's like, you know, puts that stamp or
Yeah, that
approval?
extra spark.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm not hating on anyone in any sense, but it's like, at least in my own perspective of how I grew up, that's how I learned how to get to where I'm at. And that's why I feel like I am still here, because I've always consistently tried to always implement that into not only my video parts, but in my regimen.
So, hey, you got a box there.
I do.
So we just looked at a bunch of decks that I brought.
Yeah.
I
So
think you got a box of
you
decks.
collect boards?
Dude, I'm a huge collector of boards. I mean, I brought one box of boards that I just personally loved and had inspiration by. I wish I brought more, but yeah, I just couldn't get them out of my storage in time.
Yeah. Check them out.
But,
Magneto.
yeah, and you're gonna appreciate. I bet you I have some in here that
Let's
honestly
go.
you've
That-
never seen.
You're gonna want this? Some of these
I-
boards?
I had to.
You know, we might,
gotta.
we
Huh?
might, we might
Make some deals?
that's what I was just about to say. We might have to be able to do some trades for some of these Mafia boards. You know.
Also, by the way, a lot of skaters who I meet, like they don't collect boards, right? Because you're so focused on your skating,
your own
right?
skating.
So it's totally
Right.
fine, you know. And that's why, like, I try to collect boards and tell a story, and people
Yeah.
hit me up like, "Damn, I don't even have that."
Yeah.
But the fact that you took some time, you know, to collect
Oh,
over
man.
the years and just stash some boards.
Well, not only
dope.
that, but like I personally thank you, Dez. But I think not only for that, I've always just tried to keep one of every graphic that I've ever had. First of all, so I have like a couple boxes of just all of my graphics from Blind, and obviously now moving into Mafia, I have a couple already stacked in, you know. But this is like one of the newer ones that hasn't come out yet from Mafia.
So,
that,
So it's not out yet.
This one isn't out yet, but it's probably going to be out in the
is it
next
coming?
season,
Next season?
this summer.
first
Summer.
look,
So
Wallride
Summer
exclusive.
25's,
First look,
collection.
Skate Mafia,
Yeah.
See it.
TJ.
And,
Oh!
it's a portrait. It's a portrait of me and BB. Come here, Beeps. Come here. No, she ain't into it. She's over it.
I saw her Jake one yesterday running around.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So it's cool that they like kind of made this into a portrait for me and her. I was just
Cool.
hyped. It was crazy because this photo was actually taken in Toronto when I was just home. I'm staying at my homie Paulie's house that I've known for a really long time since I was a kid, and there was like a photo shoot for dogs like downstairs on the building below him at like some vape shop, and they're like it was only specifically for dogs too, the photo shoot. So they're like taking a bunch of photos of BB. They're like, "Yo, TJ, get in there and take a photo with her." And like that was one of them. And like
Cool.
Dan asked me for a photo of me and BB. Come here. No.
She wants compensation.
No, she wants. She's like, "Yo, I just want you to come down here, Dad. Come check it. Oh, come here. Yeah, this is you. This is you."
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fucking rad, you know. So it's cool to have that as like another board, just because BB means a lot to me. That it was like, it was, yeah. It was rad that they brought this out for me, you know. I got some boards, dude. Guys, you're gonna trip out on some of these. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm already tripping out. This is fire.
Yeah, it's a cool
This
one.
is sick.
It's a rad one for sure.
You famous, man.
She's like, "Yo, like, where's a ball? Let me play right now with you guys," you know.
Dope.
So this is one that I got a long time ago, and I ended up getting Paul to sign it for me.
Hey, yo.
What? Where it's like his MVP board back in 2010.
20, exactly. that was
P-Rod,
2010, P-Rod.
Plan B.
And he's my boy, T motherfucking J. Mad respect to P-Rod, you know?
Really? He wrote that?
Yeah. Yeah, I brought it
It's
to
like
him.
a 7.5 size.
Something like that.
Small
Yeah,
board.
I
Yeah.
think 7.5 or 7.75. But yep, 2010 Pro model.
Small boards.
This is the first Pro they make for you.
And look at, they got all the cracks, like you said, you
Yeah,
know?
stress cracks. But that's part of the beauty. And this is the first Pro they would make for you on Plan B.
Yeah.
Like around that time. So there's a Scheckler one. Like everyone has
Everyone.
a Felipe.
Foil.
Danny Way, PJ Ladd,
Yep.
all of them.
That's sick, man. Signed.
So I was super hyped to get that one in the archive for myself. And since he signed it as well, you know?
That's a heater.
And
Keep
then
it going.
yeah, we'll throw that one back in because I don't want to get that one
yeah.
scratched.
See?
Yep.
See?
Yep.
It's right here. Protect your deck at all costs, man.
Have
The
to.
deck's
Yes.
wrap it up.
It's better to keep it in a bag than shrink wrap. Like shrink wrap, right?
Because there's breathability, right? And actually, there's a lot that goes into it. But like in the bag, right? There's also microclimate that could be. There's all
kinds
and
of
that's why
stuff,
the
huh?
shrink burn happens because it's like gets
Yeah.
hot. It
Yeah.
creates a microclimate and it sticks to the board.
It
You know
melts
this.
the,
it melts,
ink.
right?
Yeah, the ink.
Oh yes.
So this is the one
yes.
that actually you hooked me up with last time we hung out.
What?
Yeah.
Dez gifted me
Star.
this one from Paul Macno.
Right.
I got to bring this event and hopefully get
Thomas.
it signed. Exactly.
Yeah.
He came through, signed some boards. I'm like, bro, I got you something.
Yeah.
You know.
And like Macno is like I'm a big fan because he's from Canada as
Canadian?
well. Yeah. So like
RDS.
yeah, RDS as well. But it was just a really rad graphic that I was like super hyped that Dez hooked me up with. Like I said, these are some of the other ones on the first box. So
So you got a lot of boxes. This is what you just pulled out. This was
this is just
minute. He pulled out a box.
yeah,
this is
But
one
I'm
of the
so hyped.
boxes.
yeah, this is just one.
Yeah.
This is
Wow.
a Pink Floyd
I've never
board.
seen this one in person.
It's a shape deck.
Habitat.
Oh, Habitat.
Habitat shaped.
Official licensed, I think.
Yeah, it was. Official license. They had a couple different graphics, but I was super hyped on this because I was a big fan of Pink Floyd as a kid. I loved my psychedelics.
You ever listen to this album, Marko?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have.
Dark Side of the Moon.
Let's go.
Come
For real.
on.
Forwards or backwards? You heard.
Here, I'm gonna put this here just so I can look through them, and I'll
Yeah,
just
yeah,
stand
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
This one graphic, I mean, this one isn't, I mean, this means a lot to me, and I was really stoked on this board, but it's not a board that you can kind of buy. But it was just like, I was just on a Red Bull trip out in Barcelona for this event called Spot Check.
Love that. That was dope, man.
Yeah, it was a really
Yeah.
cool experience, just kicking it with everyone on the
Right.
crew and just the team. Like, it was such a good vibe the whole week that I was really grateful that I was a part of that trip.
Yep.
And they ended up giving us a board at the end of
Wow.
it. And I ended up just getting everyone on the trip and all the crew and the media and just everyone to sign it. Because again, it's like these types of moments turn into memories, and that's all we got.
You guys
So-
crushed it out there, man.
thank
you were
you.
hitting some first tees. I was like, damn.
I was
okay,
just-
let's go. You
I was
started
just really-
off the vibe.
I was just really grateful, you know. And it's like, yeah, I'm just super hyped that everyone got to sign it and just like
Felipe, Jamie.
Jamie, fucking everyone, dude. That was it.
Dopeness.
Super stoked though. It was a really rad board. Just
I'm
hyped to
hyped.
have that.
It's a deep box too, man. There's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of.
So this one is a dope one. I don't know if you've seen this, but this was a blind Danny Sarrazini.
Oh, what?
With all the girls just making out.
Trip out. I actually have that.
Damn,
It's
really?
fire, bro. Yeah, I
respect.
had to. I was like, that's crazy.
I was
Edgy
hoping.
as hell.
I was hoping that I was gonna bring some out that you didn't.
Show them for a quick
That you
second.
didn't have. Yeah. Check it.
Savage.
I think this came out in like 2010 to 2012.
Danny
Within
Sarrazini.
within that like 2-3 year bracket.
I'm waiting.
And then this is actually another complimentary to that graphic. That is
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes. I used to have that.
really.
No more though.
Damn. Yeah, I know. I have a homie that would love to buy this one if you had it.
Really? Okay.
I can't
Okay,
get rid
wow.
of this one.
Yeah, it's fire.
But yeah, this one's
It's,
fucking awesome.
Bootylicious, as they would say.
Yeah, duh. But I mean, that's why I got a fucking tattoo of just some ass on ass on my
Cap up.
Mom,
Lift
man.
that. Zoom in on that guy. Zoom in on. There's also some.
Shaquifa.
Yeah.
And
What else we got? What else?
damn, this is another classic from
Ooh.
Tom Penny, Cheech and Chong, but it's the gold foil.
Okay.
So it was a
Gold
limited.
foil edition.
And I think it's like celebrating an anniversary.
Correct.
Like how many years?
50.
This was one of their
50-year
best sellers.
anniversary for Cheech and Chong, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, they made a limited run of these, so I was like super hyped to be able to get this one.
And shout out to Flip. Like shout out to Tom Penny. His birthday just passed like a month ago. They dropped like a quick strike signed version of those. I was like, bro.
Yeah.
And then by the time I
Cool.
woke up in the morning, gone.
I don't think gold though.
Gone?
Not
Yeah.
gold, though.
Not
Not
gold,
gold.
yeah,
It was just
that
the
was-
rainbow
Yeah.
colors. Yeah.
That came out like almost 2019 or like early COVID type shit before, you know, as everyone was starting to do the gold foil shit back in the day, you know?
P-Rod influence.
This one's
Oh,
fucking.
okay. I gotta get hyped up for this because I
Whoa,
love
that's a
flip.
s-
Not just because my
7
name's FlippinBoard. I love my first board was a flip. It was
Okay.
a rally flip. So
Is that where you got your name from, Flip?
no, it just happened like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Check this one. Apple
Yeah.
Buds. Major shout out to Mark Appleyard, you know?
Wow.
I actually bought this off of him in his collection a long time ago. And, you know, Skater of the Year, Thrasher, fucking, it's one of the sickest boards. I was so hyped to be able to get my hands on this.
Buddies.
And so Butters G.
Buddies, G. I've never seen that in person, so.
Yeah.
Here we go. We still got a few more. I'm
Oh,
loving this.
fuck yeah, dude. I gotta, dude. I only brought one box. I should have brought more. Cause
You know what's crazy though?
this is a good, I love being able to share my nostalgic and history because I know you appreciate this shit.
We'll run it back, but hold on. Even before you flip it, like just looking at the shape, Marko.
Yeah.
I mean, you know this.
I can just
I
tell
already
how
know this is
old,
some
because how
yeah, yeah,
skinny
yeah.
they are.
This is
Yeah, right.
exactly-
Oh man, this is like
We're going
90s
back,
shit,
yep,
you know?
we're going back in time. Just
Like
off
that
the
Apple
shape
yard,
alone.
that's like
Yeah.
That was
smaller
on one.
than 7.
Two.
shape. This is
It's
yeah,
like a,
seven-
it's like
02.
a 725 or.
It was in 02 that they dropped this because he got Skater of the Year in 2001. So, over 23 years old, 24 years old, that board.
And a little trick for y'all out there if you want to hang your boards and you don't know how to do it, little fishing line.
Or,
Oh, geez, stop.
or you hit up my homie Timo from Hella Hangers, and he'll get you
cool.
right, dude. He's
Yeah?
the
That's
my
man.
guy. That's
You
my
know
guy.
Timo?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
My
yeah.
man.
Hella hangers.
Fuck yeah, he's the best,
Hella
dude.
bangers.
Yep. All right, so,
So,
no
yeah,
further
that's a-
ado.
Yep.
Oh
Corey
my
Shepard.
gosh.
Wow,
Let's
Corey
go.
Shepard. Yeah.
RCMP, which is a Canadian Royal Mounted Police. And I think this was his first board back in the day when he turned pro. I bought this off someone in Australia a long time ago, couple $100, but definitely hyped because, again, he's just another Canadian legend that I just really wanted to pay respect to, and just hyped to have this board.
So fire,
Didn't get
bro.
it signed.
It's not slick bottom, is it? No.
You can open it if you'd like,
No,
but
it's
as
okay,
you
I
can
can
see, I put the thing through it because I didn't want to take it out the plastic because I was like,
7.6.
fuck, I ain't scratching this bitch.
7.6, yeah.
7.6.
Yeah.
Don't even gotta tell me.
Those are the size we
7.6.
used to skate
Maybe
back in the
7.7.
90s.
But
Small
7.6.
decks.
And
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of this, but I've never held one. So I gotta hold one.
Hold it up, dog. Come on. This is another old one, but again, this is it's kind of just a personal thing for me. Again, I just grabbed one box. I didn't know what was in here, so it is what it is. But this is an unemployable board where it was like a Globe release party that they did. I believe it was their 30-year or 25-year anniversary, where they did like a big book on Globe and Dwindle's history, and they ended up getting a board, and then I literally have like all of the OG pros. Mark McKee signed it. This was 2015 when we did it.
He doodled on it.
Sacrell, Gary
Sock
Valentine.
the filmer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kevin Romar, Chris Haslam,
Rodney Mullen.
What?
David Gonzalez, Louis Barletta, Chet Thomas, Mark Appleyard, DeCenzo, Joey Brzezinski, Daniel Espinoza, Paul Hart, and James Craig, I think.
Really?
Yeah, and then I think there's one other one. I can't read that one right now. But yeah, it was like just another one, just again for my own archives, personal,
Look at that. Mark McKee doodled
Art.
and he drew the little blind Kenny joint
So
right there.
Mark McKee was one of the artists for World
Dwindle.
Industries
World
and Dwindle and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he drew a lot of the graphics.
Legend in the game.
Legend. So this one is matte ink. I don't know if you can tell. It's the non-shiny. Normally it's like glossy ink, but this is matte non-shiny ink.
But it looks so shiny.
Which is cool, and it's actually more expensive and
It's
harder
sleek.
to make.
It looks sleek.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
nice.
I was hyped. It was a cool one, just to have from my own
Beautiful
archive.
board.
So I'm not crazy for geeking out over boards.
No, never.
It's actually a thing, all right?
This one is another
Impact.
classic.
Impact.
Yes.
James Craig, we got him to sign it. It was
TJ,
a
can you
classic.
flip it really quick? Show the impact.
Yeah, so this is what I was talking about earlier, which is the impact.
Carbon
So
fiber.
actually-
insert.
this is literally my shape that I skate. It's a 31.4.825. So they just put this graphic on my board, and I was like, yo, I don't want to give this one away or skate it.
It's funny because Marco's interested in this side of the
Details.
board.
The top.
I'm interested in this side of the board.
I like the top. I look at the top.
Well,
Like,
it's just
flip
so
it
cool.
over. I don't want to see the graphic. I want to see the other.
But yeah, it's cool. I was hyped, and this is like a limited edition James Craig one. And
Yes.
You know, so James Craig.
there's two of them though. That's the thing.
Oh, there
What?
we go. I was about to say.
So that's where I wanted to show you the difference.
back to
Because
back.
if you
Whoa.
see James where he's kind of holding the one finger up with like an L, and then this one's like a peace sign. And then you can see back to back, 2009 to 2010 for the Lakers winning.
Yep.
I think the series.
Yep.
And then this one was just a limited edition a few years later, I believe.
Jack Nicholson right there, James Craig,
Yeah.
courtside with his Corona.
Yeah,
you know, he
of
always
course.
got that Corona,
Has to.
baby. And then this one, they played the Orlando Magic and then the Celts. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
that's fire, bro.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing these in.
Yeah,
man.
of course. I wish I
Sick
brought
boys.
more now because like I've been enjoying this. And I think
We can
there's
run it
only
back. Trip out. I actually got more Mafia decks. I told Marko, I was like, hey, I got like 50 of them. I only brought in like 30 of them. So we'll have to do a part.
we could do a part two one
Board
day.
for board.
Yeah, we could do a part two one day. But this is my last one in the box.
Ooh.
And this is my good homie Will Marshall that I grew up with in Ontario. He rode for Alzheimer's, which is rest in peace to the brand.
They just, this past summer.
Yeah,
a couple
this
months
past
ago.
year.
Yeah.
They
Few
went
months
out of
ago, yeah.
business. About last year, I believe.
Well, I think they just shut it down.
Yeah, well, the
Right, they
homie
were like-
Price that owned it, he was a distributor for Palace in the States, and that's kind of what helped run the brand and like kind of keep things flowing. And you know, with everything kind of going on in the industry, they weren't able to kind of support the rest of the riders and the vision of where it was going. That yeah, it's unfortunate, you know.
But they made a lot of history.
A lot of
They
Shout
did.
out to
shape
Alzheimer's.
decks.
the
Yeah,
best
Alzheimer's.
fucking shit. I was a big
Crazy
fan of
shit.
that brand.
Yeah,
you know?
those shapes.
The shape decks.
The Lambo,
Those
the
are really-
Jesus P.
really hard to
like,
make and
you know what I'm
expensive.
saying? So they
Yeah,
came out
expensive to
and
make.
crushed the game.
And it was just rad that like, you know, Will smokes a lot of cigarettes and he has asthma. So it's just rad that they made
it's
his
his
name.
name,
Yeah, they made his name and his two favorite things.
That's fire.
this is my day one homie. You know, I grew up with him. He's like, you know, I've known him for pretty much my whole skate career. You know, over 25, 26, 7 years. You know, that I had to get his first board. You know, I don't even think he gave it to me. I bought it.
See, but nostalgia, and like you can look at a wall and a different deck speaks to you. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the cool thing I like about collecting is where I might be drawn to, you know, this board because, oh, the homie or someone that I've seen skate before or a certain graphic or whatever. It's such a large, you know, just span of
For sure.
graphics and meetings.
Exactly. That's the last one in the
There
box.
it
I
is.
wish I brought more
Where's
because I got a Banksy board at home. I got all these crazy ones that I bought over the years. Like, again, I just didn't have enough time. I was already running late to this that I was like,
we're
fuck,
hyped
I
on
know.
those. We're hyped
All right.
on those, man. You did it.
So-
and you debuted, you know what I'm saying? He kicked it off. He debuted that Skate Mafia exclusive. So
Yeah, for
super
sure.
hype.
I got to get some more Mafia ones for the archives, though. I don't really have too many yet, but that just means that I might have to buy a few off you.
Right. There's that graphic
Or you do the trade, no?
on the wall, right?
one?
That represent the Tribe Called Quest.
Oh, yeah. That one?
Right. So
That one's a classic.
Yeah.
Super hyped on that one as well.
Yeah, Marco. So
Yeah.
which one was
here we
your
go.
favorite?
Probably James Craig.
Yeah.
James ones are
'Cause
fire.
I know James. Yeah.
James, that one was really good, honestly. I was a big
Sick ass
fan
dude,
of that.
James.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the.
I haven't talked to him in years.
Like
Like,
P-Rod, yeah.
Yeah, the P-Rod was fire.
Piro one's fucking goated.
Yeah. One other thing I wanted to ask. You know, we did a lot of collector stuff today. As a kid, growing up, are there certain graphics that you skated that you can remember,
Oh, yeah.
recollect?
yeah.
Tell us about those, man.
So my very first board, I'll never forget it. I remember my first board that my grandmother bought me. It was a OG Santa Cruz where it was all white with the red logo, and it just had like Santa Cruz.
Santa
on it.
Cruz dot. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's called. Yeah.
And that board specifically, my grandma bought me the same paint in the red and the white. So every time I scratched the graphic, I could repaint it to make it look fresh.
Yo,
Nice.
Like that was like
Keep it fresh.
Yeah, I was hyped on that. And then another board two boards that actually resonated with me was there was this one board that was a blind slick, ever slick, where it was kind of like the LibTech boards back in the day.
They were
it was
heavy.
Yeah, but it had like the explosion of like the mushroom.
no way.
You know,
With the Reaper
Yeah,
right there?
yeah,
Bro,
yeah.
that's a grail.
That
is
one I
great.
had back in the day. And then I remember another board that I had when I was 10 years old, because the only reason why I remember this is it was like when I first met Bobby DeKaiser. And he is from the same hometown that I grew up at, and he's 6 years old at this time. And he kind of had a really shitty board, and I just got a fresh board at the time where I ended up just having an old shorty Sammy Baptista board that had the money and dollars, money signs, and then the diamonds all over it. And I gave that to Bobby back in the day. So those were like three really good graphics that I just remember as a kid. And of course, there was plenty of other ones, like the blind Big Brother board, where it was like the naked sumo people all over it. You know the one? Dude, that's a grail.
I gotta find that.
Yeah, you should. That's a
Right.
banger right
So
there.
so you had blind boards
Yeah, ever
This
since
is
I was a kid.
before, like,
Yeah.
So
Well,
when
then
you're
the
You're riding
shoes-
for blind.
Yeah, this was literally, I was like 10 years old.
right.
You know?
So when it came to fruition and actually became a reality,
Yeah.
what was that feeling like?
Oh, it was surreal. It was just so crazy to be like a part of a brand that I like rocked when I was a young kid, you know? And don't get me wrong, Mafia has been around since 01 as well, like kind of almost around the same time that I skated. And I've seen their boards all the time in the past, you know? Like I remember specifically when I was growing up, there was a lot of boards that were like the girl boards. Like I think that was what really kind of broke out in Canada. Like I don't know if they were that big in the early 2000s in Canada specifically, just because it was more of a San Diego-based brand.
Right.
But I remember specifically like the distribution getting a bunch of these boards, and it was just a bunch of girls all over the fucking graphics, and it was sexy. It was tight.
Shout out to
I think-
Slappy's Garage, by the way.
Yeah.
San Diego.
Yo,
like
Diego.
I kind of sourced a
And-
bunch of these.
Yeah,
And
for
Steve-
sure.
SD.
Yeah,
Steve
100.
Anasco, I think he shot those photos. Photographer.
Ah.
Steve Anasco, I think he shot the photos.
If it wasn't him, it was Dan too.
Oh,
Because I know Dan
yeah?
likes to take those type of
Oh, okay.
photos.
Yeah.
But it probably was Steve.
Because he did shoot for he shot for Skate Mafia, like
Oh,
some
did
of the
he?
girls. But
Okay.
I don't know if that's.
It probably was, honestly. Like, I don't know that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know a little bit of their history.
Yeah.
But I'm still learning on it. And yeah, I'm just
So,
stoked.
TJ, how did you meet Bill Weiss?
It was pretty much Morgan Smith. honestly. Morgan Smith.
Not a Canadian.
Yeah, another Canadian legend from Toronto. He was a little older than me, and he was on Blind, and his part just came out in the What If video, or it was the Blind video, sorry. And the people that I grew up with in the early 2000s, late 90s, because I started in like 98, 99, they all were like super hyped on like big baggy pants and like that whole retro style where it was
The
like,
90s,
and
Sick.
it was like, but they also like being from Canada too, like people were just like gravitating towards people that like, you know, already were kind of making a name for themselves in their hometown because like you want to support your own, you know what I mean? So it was really rad. I mean, for me, I remember everyone loving Grant Patterson and Wade Desarmo.
Oh, yeah.
You know, just because again, it was like
Canadians.
Canadian legend, heritage, all baggy clothes. So all my friends that I looked up to those guys, you know? So it was like almost just like natural to kind of look up to those guys as well and like, you know, want to support them. I have this amazing Wade Desarmo graphic. I wish I brought it. Oh my God. It's like the Molson beer Canadian like a board, and it just says Desarmo on it. It's
sick.
fucking fire.
Shout out to Grant Patterson also. His brother hit me up recently and bought a
no
board
way.
off me to surprise Grant Patterson for his birthday.
Crazy.
It was like crazy, yeah.
board?
Crazy.
It was
Was it the sour one that just came out?
no, it was the debut the video board signed by Krieger. It's like board outside the movie theater. It's a
What if?
Is it the premiere?
Okay.
Yeah, and it was
That
signed by like
was video.
Krieger. You signed it too, man.
I don't think so.
I think so.
I don't think so.
No, Craig, James Craig.
Yeah. I wasn't
Okay,
on
yeah,
board
yeah,
then.
you're right. No, you're right.
It was
you're
way
right.
before my
It was
time.
right before. It was before your time.
Yeah.
But it was signed by them, so it was like just crazy to. Yeah.
But it
man.
was rad though, just to, you know, have that type of influence from them. And I think that's what kind of came naturally to why I ended up riding for Blind. So when I ended up like originally when I started getting hooked up, because at one point I ended up going into foster care, which was like kind of like child protective services where I was like living with a different family. And right when I got out of that was kind of when I won my first contest to go to Slam City Jam in Calgary. And that was kind of when everything changed for me. My eyes were opened up. I was like, wow, I can't believe like I just
That was
won
a big
free.
contest.
Yeah, and I was
huge
just winning.
contest.
Well, there was a smaller event that was like connected to it called DC Nationals. And I ended up just like winning the regional and then like the provincial stop, and then they brought me to Calgary for Slam City Jam. I had to compete at the global finals, and
You have to qualify to get into the other
at the
one.
Slam City, but I got to skate Slam City Jam course. You know,
Okay.
I got to meet Grant Patterson, Greg Lutzka, fucking all these other pros that were there at the time, and it was such a surreal moment because I just got out of foster care. And then I kind of started getting flown for some shoes back then, and then a distribution hit me up, and then I got on Blueprint boards, where I was on them for a short time. Then I ended up getting on Reel for like 6 to 8 months, and then I was just going through the boards way too fast.
How old are you at this time?
I would like to say I was probably 16, almost 17, and then I remember specifically like just going through all the boards, and the reps at the distribution were telling me like, yo, we can't keep giving you boards, you know, like you're going through too many.
So how many boards do you go through in a month?
I'll get to that. And now with the impact, definitely less, but back then I was a kid and I was just jumping like crazy.
Downstairs, yeah.
But I ended up like hitting up Morgan because I actually tried to get on Powell too, way back in the day, and they said no.
What?
Yeah, and then I ended up.
DeVille?
Yeah, I ended up sending him
Team
my
manager for Powell.
Yeah. He's a good dude, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I got nothing but love for him. But yeah, I sent him all my footage. He's like, send me 20 bangers. And I sent him 20. And he was like, maybe next year hit me back up with more footage. And then I just ended up sending the same shit to Weiss. And Weiss was like, yeah, I got you.
Wow.
But I ended up getting on Blind because I got Morgan to send my footage to Weiss as well. So I think that also gave me a stamp of validation of like someone else from the team wanting to support me. That Weiss gave me a chance.
Yeah.
And I remember him giving me 8 boards for my first box. And it was definitely more than what I was getting from the distributions. And I ended up going through all 8 of those boards in a month. And Weiss was like, yo, dude, that was supposed to last.
That's a lot.
He's like, you're supposed to go through that in 2 months. And I was like, but here's all the footage I got. And he's like, oh shit. Okay, yeah, we'll send you more.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, you keep feeding them footage, they keep feeding your boards.
Exactly.
That's how it works,
So-
right?
Exactly.
Like this.
Yeah.
It's an
Now,
exchange.
Like, current day, do you fly through boards a lot? Are you still flying through boards?
I like to say I don't as much, but it's because also the technology that I have on my boards. You know, like
okay.
if I didn't have that, I'd probably be going through them a lot more. But it's just the fact of like what I like to skate. I like to have my board as strong as possible, just so I don't have any hesitations of doing the splits, pulling my knees out, you know, hitting my head like Hollywood. Like there's so many factors that like me just having a strong, firm board, I always will have that peace of mind knowing that it won't break. At one point, you know, when I was rocking with Blind and I was AM still, I'll never forget it. I was rocking these one boards. You guys may know the one. It was a Ronnie Krieger board that was all neon green, and it was like almost like a rat graphic, and it was kind of like him coming out of like bricks. I forget like the ode to what the graphic was supposed to be about. They sent me 9 or 10, whatever, broke them all within 2 weeks, and I was like, dude, these boards are fucked, you know? He sent me another box and I went through them again. I went through 18 or 19 boards in 1 month.
Wow.
And then that's kind of when Weez was like, yeah, Cordano numbers right there.
Yeah.
I'm not a 240 pound football
The
player,
most
you know?
I heard was the most, I don't know if it's true or not, Calvin Hoffler.
Oh,
I heard that he used to go to like 30 boards.
yeah, he probably just skated
breaks-
it one
yeah.
day and then he was just over it though.
Yeah. Yep.
How about yourself, Marko? What's your record?
I can make a board last like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like me rocking with Mafia, I definitely try to keep my boards lasting a lot longer because of the fact that like, I just love the boards. They're so damn good personally. And I ended up actually, just recently, I just re-grip my board all the time now. Like if I feel like my grip tape's like kind of going out, but there's no chips on it, I'll just peel off the grip and then I'll just re-grip it.
What kind of grip is
I rock Jessup.
Jessup?
Ultra grip though.
Ultra.
Yeah. So it's like extra grippy. So typically it don't have to, but if you're skating like a dirty spot or a homie fucking pours soda on your grip tape, you're like, oh, I don't want that. Put on a new one.
Jessup made Ultra grip to compete with Mob. Because Mob is like grippier, and original Jessup is not as grippy. So they made Ultra grip with like bigger rocks.
Yeah.
To compete with Mob, which is, that's what a lot of
Different,
people skate.
different grade.
Yeah.
But
So you like it?
Yeah, I love it. It's the best.
Ultra? Yeah.
But what's cool about it too is the fact that Ian Deacon,
Ian, yep.
yeah, he's a good friend
Team
of mine.
manager.
Yeah, for Flip back in the day and now for Jessup as well. And he ended up being like, yo, it's the same patent as M80 Mob grip, but it just has the Jessup and it doesn't have the perforated holes. So I was like, okay, perfect. I'll just ride this, They gave me a little check too, so I was like, bonus.
Cool.
Canada to LA,
Yeah.
right? You made that jump happen. And as I mentioned, you're kind of viewed as an international ambassador, right? How were you able to make that happen, right? Because Mark, you were talking about like
we just have
visas
a
and stuff.
question for like all these international skateboarders out there. The visa, the process, the cost.
Yep.
Can you touch up on that subject?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So pretty much what happened was like Weiss was telling me, he's like, yo, TJ, if you want to make it, like you got to come to California and like, you need to have a visa and you got to be here longer than where you're at. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm down. And pretty much what happened was I ended up there's this guy named Sean Hayes who he's just a good friend and he's like a kind of a Canadian legend in skateboarding, He used to be the Plan B team manager back in the day, but then also worked with DC for a while. And then he's from the West Coast, so I didn't really know him that well back in the day. But then he started to work with Canada Skateboard for the Olympics and stuff later on.
He's a Team Canada coach.
Correct. But part one of them, because I think there's two. There's another guy named Adam Higgins as well. But going back to 2012, 2013, they were all telling me like we need to get a visa, and then Sean Hayes, or actually Ryan DeCenzo too, he was the one that referred me to this lawyer company called Action Sports Law Group. And the girl that ran it is named Becky Mendoza. She's an amazing person. I've been working with her for 13 years now. And the visa for me that I had to get was a P1 visa. It's like a professional sports athlete
Sports visa?
Yeah. And with that being said, I ended up, I had to pay, I think at the time when I first did it, I think it was $3,500 or $4,000. And this was back in 2013. And it lasted for 5 years. But I also had to, once I sent in a submission, I had to get a bunch of people, not only the brands that I worked with, to vouch for me, but then on top of it, I had to get a bunch of letters of recommendations from other notable skaters or other people in the industry that would vouch for me that, like, I'm not just gonna move there and just like go AWOL, So it took a bit of a process. I think almost.
It's a process.
Yeah, almost. And I had to send them all my credentials of like all my awards and like all the photos of the magazines I've been in. And then, within a couple months, I ended up getting my visa. And then after the 5 years, I ended up having to renew it. I had to pay a little bit more. After 10 years, at that time, I was told that I had to get a green card because after 10 years being on a visa, you're technically not allowed. But I think in some way, I don't know who or what the government was at that time, but they took that law out and now I can just continue to keep getting visas. So I ended up applying for another visa and I've been on a visa for, 12, 13 years. And it was funny because the first time that I used that visa, the security TSA type people, customs, they were all like, oh, you got the visa like Wayne Gretzky has, like, you must be pretty big. You're special, huh? And I was like, sure, thanks. Thanks for letting me in.
That's good information, for all the international skaters out there.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, if you ever have an issue or a question, you're looking into getting those, depending on which country you're in, I'm sure Becky can help you out. So reach out to me on DM. I still respond to everyone, as I've said, from my 9 club interviews to everything. Like, hit me up and I can send you your contact info if you can't find it online.
And that's what's up, man. The fact that you're responsive, you take the time to like reach out to people, like it doesn't go unnoticed, man.
Yeah,
and, like,
appreciate that.
That's why we want to get behind you and support, and that's why like I'm trying to cop every TJ Mafia drop, and then that's why I have all the blind, right?
Yeah.
So
You got a good collection. You got a couple.
we're working on it.
I actually have some doubles, 2 of my boards from like back in the day that I might have to trade you for some Mafia ones,
There
and
you
I can
go.
give you some of my old ones,
Yeah.
Because I would be stoked to have
Work it out.
I'd be stoked to have a couple of these ones that you showed me. Just
Well,
mean a lot to me.
I do have a couple boards for you right now. I
Oh,
want to gift you
shit.
something, man.
No way.
Yeah, I'm gonna gift you these.
Oh,
For
fuck.
taking the time to come through.
God damn.
Here we go.
We'll start with the.
Oh my God. Yo,
Yeah,
Beagle's one of the
Beagle.
good homies, dude.
Yeah, this is
Wow.
for you, man.
Dude, thank you so much.
Because I showed,
one.
showed him a bunch of boards,
That's a
and
dope,
you mentioned like these caught your eye.
Yeah.
So what about them?
There was no Mafia boards in those photos, or I would have picked those.
I didn't pick this is a non-Mafia. I was like, hey, I got something for but
Damn, these ones are
Beagle.
sick, dude. Yeah, thank you
Sick
so much, dude.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you
Yeah.
you hooking me up with these.
for sure.
And I know Beagle's just one of the homies, and I've loved his filming and his videos that he's created over the years for Baker and Death Wish and Shake Junt. That when you sent me those photos of boards and you're like, yo, you could pick 2 out of these ones, I was like, oh, okay, no Mafia, no OG blinds. I was like, I'm gonna pick like 2 of my favorite people, and like I seen this one, and I was like, yeah, I gotta grab this one, and I'm hyped that one was available
Bro.
too, because
Big time.
that's one of my biggest inspirations in skateboarding from back in the day was Kareem Campbell because
Campbell,
because
legend.
of Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Like
Oh,
it was I only used him as my character
Oh, yeah.
because I just loved his fucking steez. He was just fucking gangster and like
Sick.
he was I think the only man of color in the game as well, and like I got mad respect for like individuality and like him doing his own thing, and like he set the bar and tone for so many people that I just got mad love for that, and yeah, it's just cool to see.
Right.
Him shining.
the king.
Actually,
Man.
I seen him last week at the Tony Hawk premiere actually, and we exchanged numbers. I fanned out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
I saw the photo. TJ with next to Kareem.
I'm not
bro,
gonna
but
lie.
that's what it's all about,
Yeah,
man.
so I'm hyped to get that, and hopefully when I go out to Dallas next, I'm gonna bring that with me and try and get
Right.
him to sign it, because that's just like another ode to me again.
Shout
It's
out
like,
to Kareem. Shout out to 4 Down.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
making waves with 4 Down. They just had an event, I think, literally this past weekend.
Oh, no way.
And yeah, a bunch of big names were out there
Crazy.
giving back to the community.
That's
Epic
right.
event. And actually, Kareem blessed me with a few City Star boards on my birthday.
No
So
way.
on my birthday, they were having an event in like San Luis Obispo, right?
oh
It
yes,
was
SLO.
Yeah, super
Yeah.
low key though. They're like, oh, it's an event.
With Stacey
Kareem's
Peralta?
gonna be there. Stacey Peralta was throwing an event. I'm like, what?
That's
Like,
crazy.
dude, on my birthday, I was like,
gotta go.
that'd be sick to meet Kareem Campbell on my birthday.
Yeah, right.
So I made the drive, 3-4 hour drive, kicked it out there, and then yeah, boom, he showed up. Him, Mike Crum, and everybody. It was
shit.
dope. And then I was like, bro, it's my birthday. He's like, all right, well, we're about to bless you with a few gems. This one's going to you, man.
Yeah, thank you so
know what I'm
much.
saying?
Yes,
Appreciate you,
that,
bro.
dog.
So we
Oh,
got
that's
two.
awesome.
Boom.
Damn, dude.
Yep,
Is this a
style.
reissue or is this like an OG?
This is like a 2000. Not a reissue. They only dropped this once. I think 2009.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, this is only a 2009, so
Damn.
super rare
Yeah.
gem. And then the Beagle might be 2008,
Really?
something like that.
Shit.
In that 2008 to 2012.
Thank you so
but they're
much.
definitely all over like 10
Thank you.
plus years
Like
to show.
as you've seen in my stack of boards, like I try to get boards that are like more personable to me, to
Word.
where like I just hold it, hold something in my heart too, because
Yeah.
it's like I've met these guys, I've met that it's like it means more to me to collect shit that I like have an impact on my skating,
Facts.
and gives me inspiration. So thank you for adding to this collection, man.
Yeah.
Question for TJ.
Yeah.
So in 2022,
Yep.
you went through like a life-changing battle.
Yep.
You want to talk about it?
Yeah, I don't
Comfortable
mind.
talking about it.
Yeah, easy.
Inspired a ton
so-
of people, not just on a skateboard. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
No, for sure. I mean, I had testicular cancer, for anyone that didn't know, in 2022. I found out actually from my dog, and that's kind of why BB was such an influence and why I was so hyped that Mafia made that board, my first board of me and BB on it.
Yeah.
Because again, there's just so much personal, intimate meaning towards that I was just really hyped to be able to have that board come out and also have my dog be able to save my life.
More
And,
than a dog, man.
Yeah, I know, she's my guardian angel.
Facts.
And just really grateful for everything. And I ended up luckily catching it at stage 1 to where I didn't, it didn't spread into any other lymph nodes fully or into my lungs or anything like that. But I still had to do 4 rounds of chemo, which was definitely challenging at times, going through the motions, not only mentally but physically. Just trying to adapt to this change that just kind of hit me and struck me that I didn't know I was, that would happen. I was so healthy. I was running twice a day up Runyon Canyon. I was skating every day. I was eating so healthy. I felt like I was in the best position in my life then, that it was very shocking, but very grateful, like I said, for BB to kind of catch it and help me out there. And I ended up starting, I did surgery early February, I think on like the 10th of February, 22. And then I ended up finding out I had to do chemo March 28th of 22. That was my first day of chemo, sorry. And then I finished chemo June 3rd, 2022. Wow. So almost 3 years, like another week or so. And then it'll be 3 years in remission. And just grateful to still be alive and be able to just keep excelling and challenging myself, not only mentally, but physically on the board and off the board. Even when I was going through all those treatments too, I was still trying to skate and set goals for myself. Like there's certain commercials on my Instagram that like you can clearly see that I had literally no hair and I had no eyebrows. And it was pretty crazy, It was definitely a challenging time, but just really grateful, Luckily, Red Bull helped support me a lot, especially with the financial burden of like having to pay for all of the treatments and whatnot, which I'm very grateful. And just, they're literally, I've been working with them since 2008, not contracted, but contracted 11 years. And they're literally like my best sponsor and my favorite sponsor, almost, like straight up. They've helped me so much throughout the years and my goals and my dreams. Like
It's a big sponsor.
yeah, it's and back in the day, people would be
skateboarding.
like not fond of like riding for an energy drink company, and no one really fucked with it. And everyone would be like, "Oh, that's not cool. Like you shouldn't do
They
that."
do a lot for skateboarding.
Yeah,
Red Bull.
especially nowadays too. Like they help skaters fulfill their dreams and like really push them and help elevate them to the next step and level in life. So when I was kind of going through it, that was like the one thing that I always tried to tell myself was like, yo man, like everything happens for a reason. I just got to stay focused and I just got to keep doing what I got to do. Rome's not built in a day, and ultimately, fucking just keep pushing forward. Set little goals, because those little goals turn into a snowball effect, and ultimately that will lead you to the optimal goal of where you want to be.
So talking about those goals, do you write them down, or how do you like let's say tricks or your accomplishments? How do you?
Yeah, I mean, specifically when I was going through cancer, like when I was going to Red Bull, they have like an athlete performance center in Santa Monica. So like I was going there to get like all my scar tissue from my surgery of where I had to get my nut removed. And like they were working on that and, working on like the port that they put in my chest, because they pretty much put like a big port here where then it was like a tube that went through your esophagus to your heart. And that's like how they put the intervene into your, system to where like, yeah, that was just how you had to do chemo. There's 2 other ways. You could do it through your arm, but then you had to have this pick in your arm for fucking months. I was like, just put it in my fucking thing. It's a nice scar tissue, Or a nice little scar battle. Like, I'll be able to show this later and be proud. So, it was like what it was, Like, I can't trip on it. I'm happy to be still alive and to keep pushing. And, it was definitely cool.
Obviously, you were battling for your life, right? But how long did it keep you off the board? Or were you just...
It didn't keep me off the board, no. Like, there was times, don't get me wrong, like, that I wasn't skating. But I'll be honest, like, even nowadays, like, I take a couple days off because I'm fucking sore. So it was like, whenever I felt like I was in the mood or I wanted to challenge myself, I went to NoHo Park and I just skated the bank. And I just practiced every single trick that I could do on a bank. And then I would try and implement another one. So, like, that's just what I did. Like Red Bull said when I was at the APC Center, they're like, you need to set small goals, like I said earlier. And I was like, okay, I want to go there and just skate an hour a day, 30 minutes, like whatever it was. Because when I did chemo too, like I didn't really explain this, but I had to do 4 rounds of chemo. And each round consisted of 5 days on chemo, and then you get 2 weeks off. So like the first 5 days, I would just be kind of bedridden. I would just kind of want to just hang out, or not. Like the 5 days that I was on chemo, I was just bedridden, just watching Marvel and just whatever was on Netflix, And then after that, I ended up, a few days after each round, I would try and skate again. Because at first, when you're going through chemo, like you kind of get really constipated. And like, it's really hard to take a shit. You're just like really like, dry in a sense. And it was like kind of hard. But I just tried to like flush my system out with just like a bunch of water and like health, like coconut water, all these different like vitamins and electrolytes. And, it would bring me back to life. And then, but the one cool thing too, though, my doctor always told me, and I always try to explain this to everyone, because it's so weird, because you would not think this would happen. But they were always, like my doctor, he always tell me, he's like, yo, TJ, like, you're such a healthy guy, you're gonna lose weight. And if you lose weight, it's gonna fuck up your like bone marrow and everything else, and it could hurt you longer. So like, if you're hungry, if you want McDonald's, Burger King, and fucking Wendy's in one day, eat it all, have it your way. You know what I'm saying? Like, eat anything you can just to gain the weight. And typically you lose weight, like I said, when you're on chemo. I gained fucking like 25, 30 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, like I was up there, compared to where I was. So very grateful that I just listened to the doctors and just did what they said. And that also kind of helped me gain confidence in what I was doing in the process of what was going on. Because,
And did skating just kind of help level you out, take you away from everything? And just allow you to just be, not think about all the, because you're literally battling for your life.
Well, yeah, I mean, the best way to put it, it's like how I was saying even earlier, like you can't dwell on things you can't control, like there's certain things in life, like whether it's cancer or not, like you can't control certain situations, that you can't just like get flustered and get frustrated on them. You just got to appreciate the moments that you do have, because those moments turn into memories, and that's all we got. So it's like, just try to embrace it for what it is and just make the most of it. And that's all I tried to do the whole time,
And you were still posting clips, right?
Yeah.
So if it literally, from the outside looking in, it didn't feel as if like, oh, like TJ's away from the scene or anything.
No.
So like, even when you broke the news, it was like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have even really known. I mean, yeah, we could dissect some of the like how you physically look, but the fact that you're still being active, I think a lot of people get misconstrued, and they think like, if you get diagnosed, like everything shuts down.
Yeah, no.
Like, no,
Well, it's your mental. It's perspective at the end of the day, and it's how you approach things in life. And like, I'm not gonna say I've had the worst situation growing up, but I didn't have the best either. And like, I think that also gave me the drive to be where I'm at today. And it's like, I as my father taught me at a young age, there's no such word as can't. You know, you can only do cans. You know, like you can do anything you want. You're the only one that's putting that limitation on yourself. If you feel like you're hitting a brick wall, there's 3 ways to go. You either go left or right, or you break through the fucking wall. So you just got to learn how not to get stuck at that wall and just keep moving forward. And like that's just kind of what I personally tried to do.
Keep pushing.
Yeah, you know, and exactly, keep on pushing. Ricky Biedenbach. And yeah, that's kind of just what it was, you know, and very grateful for just having the people that I did have in my corner that helped me elevate and just like keep me sane and like come and support me when I did need it at my darkest times. But yeah, it was what it was, man. I can't complain.
And now you're feeling great.
Yeah, no.
Doing your thing.
Don't make me do one-hand push-ups right now.
Hey, we might make you do a trick on the little micro board back there.
Fuck that. Don't tempt me. I'll do it.
That thing's making waves.
Yeah, no, it is. Honestly, the Mafia shit, like those micro boards are literally, it's so crazy to see how far those have come. Like, you see even other, like a couple other brands have tried to like reenact them recently, but
no, Skate Mafia, like
they're the originators, man.
They hit, bro.
They're the originators of so many things, Mafia. And honestly, it's just like such a blessing and an honor to be a part of this brand, you know? Like I wear it proud on my chest and my shoulder every day because like these guys are the truth in skateboarding. And like, even though I haven't been to San Diego too much or over my years of growing up when I was a young kid, you know, I would always go to LA. Like I go down there so much more now. And it's like, I'm so grateful to have those kind of guys in my corner because like they're real people and like they're just the fucking best.
That's core right there, man. Like I feel like when you think of core skateboarding, I skate Mafia.
Skate Mafia.
No, it's literally it's Mafia for life. You know, like there's no other way of doing it. You know, like I actually
Marko, do it.
I got nothing but love for these guys, and I'm very grateful to just be a part of it. And I just want to create and keep pushing the fucking movement. It's left over right, and this one connects to this one.
Right now you're doing Spider-Man.
So look.
It's right there.
This? Just these two?
Yeah.
These two?
This too.
This two? Left over right. That's it. That's it.
And this down.
Yeah. That's it.
Boom.
Here we have it.
Let it out,
Mafia,
Marko,
baby.
hard though. You gotta
Mafia.
make the face too. There it is. Mafia. Yeah.
But yeah, no, very hyped. And personally, like, being a part of Mafia, like, they've had such a rich history in San Diego that I'm just very honored to be a part of that brand and to be able to kind of try and show it in a different limelight than where they're at as well, because they're very heavily focused in SD. And as you guys said, you know, I'm more internationally known in different areas that, you know, I just really want to try and just keep pushing the brand because they gave me a chance when, you know, no one else would.
Bro,
so I'm just grateful.
If you look at the timing of everything, right? So you overcome this life battle that's hella inspiring, bro. Like, real talk, man.
Thank you. Thank
hella inspiring, bro.
Yeah,
like,
hyped.
Real talk, bro. And honestly, I'm saying, like, I think we met maybe a year after that. And you're at, we're at, was it Pink Hotel? Pink Hotel? Yeah. At an event. And, you know, you're chilling, having a good time. I'm like, damn, bro, it's really TJ. Like, he's still all smiles. After all that, he's still all smiles.
Oh, yeah.
One chapter closed, and the new chapter, the new wave. And that's what I was saying, like, the energy flow. You just overcame this massive life battle, right?
Yeah.
Now you're hitting a new stride, new energy. You're almost like, all right, new chapter.
Yeah.
And it was, like, perfect timing, synchronicity, meant to be.
Yeah.
Mafia.
No, exactly. I'm just so grateful, Dez, like straight up, honestly. Like I was trying to say earlier, it's just so hard to put into words because again, like, especially after cancer, I didn't know what was gonna happen. And I was like, fuck, like, I don't feel like this is the end of my career. Like I want more, I wanna do more. Like how, you know, I wanna feel like I'm a part of a brand and like a part of a family, you know? Not to say that I wasn't before, but like, I just felt, especially after cancer, I needed a change.
Yeah.
That it was just so, it was so amazing that like these guys all opened me with like open arms and like supported me the way that they did because, yeah, I don't know, like I'd still be skating, but I don't know where my career would be if it wasn't for Mafia, you know? And I'm just so fucking thankful for Prebes, Dan, Wes, fucking B Money, Cha, like Alexis, Wilms, like JP, fucking Marshall, Jimmy Cow, like went on like a trip with Jimmy back in the day in 2010. Like, there's just so many other skaters too that I'm just getting flustered trying to say all the names right now. But, I'm just really hyped to be able to be a part of that brand and like trying to help elevate it to the next step,
did,
of their
man.
career.
Yeah.
Your welcome part, fire.
Oh,
bro.
thank you.
Yeah.
2024
Thank
fire.
you.
Like, talk about the process of that.
views on YouTube.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Shout out to Jimmy Cal, man. We actually
Yeah.
have
Jimmy.
our last
Really
board
sick
that we'll
style.
show for the day.